The viewing platform was packed that morning. 17 different species crowded around the transparent barrier, their various appendages pressed against the reinforced glass, their breathing apparatuses fogging up the surface. I floated there among them, my sensory stalks twitching with professional concern. My name is Clawthan. Senior Zookeeper. 30 cycles of service at the Galactic Preserve on Station Nexus 4. And in all those cycles, through all the dangerous specimens I'd handled, carnivorous Threxians, venomous Kaltorian swarmers, the parasitic hive mothers of Sector 9, nothing, absolutely nothing, had prepared me for humans. The creature in question lounged in the habitat's central area. A Vordanian apex predator. 4 tons of muscle, claws like industrial cutting tools, jaws that could crush durasteel. Its species had a 98% kill rate when encountering sentient life. We'd acquired this particular specimen after it had decimated an entire mining colony on Vordax Prime. 1,200 souls. Gone. Just gone. The protocol was simple. Keep everyone at least 50 meters back. Double reinforced barriers. Automated defense turrets. Medical teams on standby. The whole 9 light years of safety measures, except for one small problem: there was a human inside the habitat. With the predator. Right now. Excuse me. I propelled myself toward the barrier, my voice translator cranking up to maximum volume. Excuse me, human. You need to evacuate immediately. The human turned his head. Slowly. Like he had all the time in the universe. He was tall for his species, maybe 6 feet, with dark skin and hair cropped close to his skull. His identification badge read Marcus Webb, xenobiology consultant. He gave me a little wave. A wave. The Vordanian was 15 feet away from him. Sir. That creature is extremely dangerous. I pressed my communication membrane against the intercom panel. Please proceed to the emergency exit on your left. Marcus, because apparently we were on a first-name basis now with people about to be evaporated from existence, actually smiled. Oh, you mean Big Whiskers here? He gestured casually at the predator. Nah, we're good. Just getting acquainted. Big Whiskers. Big Whiskers, the Vordanian chose that moment to move. It rose from its resting position, all 4 tons of murder machinery unfolding like death itself. The crowd around me gasped, several species making noises I'd never heard before, probably the sounds of existential terror in their native languages. Someone fainted. A Grelkin, I think. They're delicate like that. I jabbed the emergency alarm. Nothing happened. I jabbed it again. Still nothing. The system's offline for maintenance, a voice said beside me. Trellix, my junior keeper. He had 16 eyes and somehow all of them managed to look apologetic simultaneously. I left a memo. You left a memo. It was a very detailed memo. Inside the habitat, the Vordanian stalked toward Marcus. Its eyes, all 6 of them, locked onto him with predatory focus. Its shoulder blades rippled beneath fur that had evolved to deflect energy weapons. This was it. I was about to watch a human die. My career was over. I'd be lucky if they gave me a job cleaning plasma toilets on a cargo hauler. Marcus turned to face the predator fully. The crowd went silent. Even the Grelkin stopped bleeding from its nose holes. Hey there, buddy, Marcus said, his voice calm. Conversational. Like he was talking to a colleague at a water cooler, and not a creature that had literally eaten its way through a reinforced bunker last year. Aren't you just a big cat? Yes you are. Yes you are. Baby talk. The human was using baby talk. On a Vordanian apex predator, the predator charged. I couldn't watch. I rotated my sensory stalks away, preparing for the screams, the horrible crunching sounds, the paperwork. Oh stars, the paperwork, but the screams didn't come. Instead, I heard purring. Deep, rumbling purring that vibrated through the deck plates. I rotated back. Slowly. Afraid of what I might see, Marcus was scratching behind the Vordanian's ear ridges. The predator, the unstoppable killing machine, the creature that had haunted my nightmares since we'd acquired it, had rolled onto its back. Its massive paws, each one capable of disemboweling a Horgath battle tank, waved lazily in the air. Its tongue, which I'd seen rip through protective armor in the security footage, lolled out of its mouth. Who's a good boy? Marcus crooned. Who's a terrifying apex predator, but also a good boy? You are. You are. The crowd erupted. Half in amazement, half in what I can only describe as species-wide psychological breakdown. A Trendelian merchant started speaking in tongues. 2 Kellans began a religious chant. The Grelkin woke up, took one look at the scene, and fainted again. I activated my personal communicator. Station Administrator Veltrax. We have a situation. Veltrax's face appeared on my display, her scales shifting through several colors that indicated deep bureaucratic concern. Define situation, Clawthen. The human consultant is. I struggled to find words that made sense. He's giving the Vordanian belly rubs. There was a long pause. Belly rubs. Yes, Administrator. Belly rubs. The same Vordanian that required 8 containment teams and a military-grade stun net to transport. The very same, Administrator. Another pause. I'm coming down there. Inside the habitat, Marcus had produced something from his pocket. A small spherical object. He held it up, and the Vordanian's 6 eyes locked onto it with laser focus. You want the ball? Marcus asked. You want the ball, big guy? He threw it. The apex predator, terror of Sector 9, destroyer of colonies, launched after it like a hatchling chasing a hover toy. It pounced on the ball, pinning it with both front paws, looking absurdly pleased with itself. Trellix's 16 eyes were all wide now. Is that normal human behavior? How would I know? I snapped. We've only had humans in the Federation for 6 standard cycles. Their profile said they were curious, adaptable, and had unusual problem-solving skills. Nobody mentioned. I gestured helplessly at the scene before us. Whatever this is. Marcus looked up at the viewing platform, and seemed to notice the crowd for the first time. He waved again, that same casual gesture, then called out through the barrier, "Oh, hey. Sorry, I know I wasn't supposed to go in yet. I saw the maintenance schedule. But your predator looked stressed. Has anyone been providing environmental enrichment?" Environmental enrichment. For a Vordanian apex predator. I needed a drink. Or 6. Administrator Veltrax arrived, her official entourage trailing behind her. She took one look at the scene, her scales going through a color sequence I'd never seen before, possibly inventing new emotions on the spot. Explain, she said, her voice dangerously quiet. Administrator, I started. Not you, Clawthen. She pointed at the habitat. Him. Get him on the communicator. Now. I patched through to Marcus's personal comm, Mr. Webb. The station administrator would like a word. Oh, sure. Just a sec. Marcus gave the Vordanian one last scratch, stood up, dusted off his pants, and walked toward the barrier. The predator followed him like a devoted pet. What's up? Veltrax's scales had settled into a deep purple, the color of barely controlled fury mixed with profound confusion. Mr. Webb. That creature has killed over 1,200 sentient beings. It required military intervention to capture. Our safety protocols list it as threat level Omega. And you're playing fetch with it. Marcus glanced back at the Vordanian, which had found the ball again, and was batting it around with evident joy. Well, yeah. I mean, look at it. It's basically a big cat. A big cat, Veltrax repeated slowly. Sure. Apex predator, obligate carnivore, retractable claws, forward-facing eyes for depth perception, ambush hunting behavior. We had cats on Earth. Well, still have them. We domesticated them like 10,000 years ago. This guy's just scaled up. Way up. But same basic programming. I couldn't help myself. Your species domesticated predators. Oh, tons of them. Cats, dogs, wolves, foxes, ferrets. Had a guy try to domesticate a bear once. That didn't go great, admittedly. But the principle was sound. Marcus grinned, apparently finding all of this amusing. We get along with predators. Always have. I think it's because we're predators too. Takes one to know one, you know. The Trendelian merchant spoke up, his voice shaky. Your species are predators. Well, yeah. Technically omnivores, but we've got the whole binocular vision thing, we hunt in packs, persistence predation. Our ancestors literally ran prey animals to death across the savannah. Just kept following them until they collapsed from exhaustion. Marcus said this cheerfully, like he was describing a pleasant hobby. It's actually a pretty metal way to hunt when you think about it. Several species in the crowd took a step back. The Grelkin fainted for a third time. Someone really needed to get that guy to medical. Veltrax's scales flickered rapidly. So you're telling me that your solution to our most dangerous predator is that you simply understand it? Because you're also a predator. Pretty much. Plus, you've been treating him all wrong. No wonder he ate those colonists. Marcus turned back to the Vordanian and raised his voice slightly. Not your fault, buddy. They probably seemed like threats. Poor environmental conditions, no enrichment, stressed out, fight or flight response. Tale as old as time. He's defending the predator now, Trellix whispered. The human is defending the creature that committed mass slaughter. Marcus continued, look, you want him calm and manageable. I can help. Give me 3 weeks. I'll have him socialized, enriched, and happy as a clam. Which is a bivalve mollusk we have on Earth, very content creatures. The predator, I mean. Not the clam. Though clams are probably happy too. Never asked one. Administrator Veltrax looked at me. I looked at Trellix. Trellix looked at his feet. All 16 eyes. 3 weeks, Veltrax said finally. But you're signing liability waivers. So many waivers. We're going to need to create new waiver categories. Deal. Marcus turned back to the Vordanian. Did you hear that, Big Whiskers? We're gonna be friends. The predator roared. The sound shook the station's structural supports. Half the crowd screamed. I may have screamed. I'm not proud, Marcus just laughed. Yeah, I'm excited too. As the crowd dispersed, still processing what they'd witnessed, I floated there beside Administrator Veltrax. We watched Marcus produce more toys from somewhere, watched the Vordanian bound after them like it hadn't murdered its way across half a sector. Humans are terrifying, Veltrax said quietly. Agreed, I replied. Make sure medical is on standby. Every day. For 3 weeks. Already done, Administrator. She started to leave, then paused. Clawthan. Did you notice his file said xenobiology consultant? Yes. Consultant in what, specifically? I pulled up his records. Scrolled down. Felt my sensory stalks go numb. It says here his specialty is dangerous predator rehabilitation. Previously worked at something called the San Diego Zoo. I kept reading. He has a degree in animal behavior. His thesis was titled, Why Everything Wants to Kill You But Probably Won't If You're Not a Jerk About It. Veltrax's scales went pale. We hired him specifically for this. Apparently Director Horthax thought it would be useful. There's a note here about budget concerns for keeping the Vordanian sedated long term. We both turned to look at the habitat. Marcus had somehow convinced the predator to sit. Sit. Like a trained domestic animal. He was rewarding it with what looked like a food treat. I'm getting too old for this job, Veltrax muttered. You and me both, Administrator, I said. You and me both. Week 1 with Marcus Webb taught me something profound about the universe. That thing being, I knew absolutely nothing about the universe. Day 3. I was doing my morning rounds when I heard singing. Actual singing. Coming from the Vordanian habitat. I propelled myself to the observation deck, dreading what fresh insanity awaited me. Marcus was brushing the predator. With a brush roughly the size of a hoverboard. The Vordanian lay sprawled across the habitat floor, eyes half closed, making a sound that registered on our equipment as a low-frequency rumble. Marcus, meanwhile, was belting out something about wheels on a bus. Whatever a bus was. Morning, Clawthan. Marcus waved the brush at me. Look at his coat. It was all matted before. Nobody's been grooming him properly. No wonder he was grumpy. Grumpy. The creature that had terrorized an entire star system was grumpy because nobody brushed him. I was going to need so much therapy after this assignment. Mr. Webb, the veterinary staff attempted grooming twice. Both times required emergency medical intervention. Well, yeah, because you can't just go in aggressive. You have to build trust first. Show him you're not a threat. Let him smell you, get comfortable with your presence. Basic stuff. Marcus moved to the predator's other side, continuing his brushing. Plus, you probably used equipment that scared him. Loud noises, wrong textures. I'm using natural bristles. See? He loves it. The Vordanian opened one eye, looked at me, then closed it again. If I didn't know better, I'd say it looked smug. How? I struggled for words. How are you not dead? Because Big Whiskers here is a sweetheart. Aren't you, buddy? Yes you are. More baby talk. The predator's tail thumped against the floor, creating minor seismic readings. He just needed someone to treat him like a living being instead of a monster. Trellix floated up beside me. There's a delegation here to see you. From the Vordaxian government. They heard about the human. Oh, excellent. Just what I needed. The species whose colony got massacred, here to watch a human cuddle with their nightmare. The delegation arrived within the hour. 5 Vordaxians, their crystalline bodies refracting the station's lights, their faces locked in expressions that their species used to convey deep skepticism. Their leader, Ambassador Riktesh, floated to the front of the viewing platform. This is the creature that murdered my people, Riktesh said, his voice like ice cracking. And you have a human, grooming it. Ambassador, we understand your concern, Administrator Veltrax began, but Riktesh cut her off. Concern. Concern. That beast slaughtered 1,200 colonists. Hatchlings. Elders. And now it's purring while some ape brushes its fur. I winced. Calling humans apes was technically accurate, but generally considered rude. Marcus, however, just looked up from his work and grinned. Guilty as charged on the ape thing. We share like 98% of our DNA with chimpanzees. Pretty cool, right? He set down the brush. And I'm really sorry about your colony. That's genuinely awful. But I've been reviewing the incident reports. Want to know what I think happened? Enlighten me, Riktesh said coldly. Marcus stood, walked over to the barrier. The Vordanian followed him, settling down at his feet. The ambassador's delegation shifted nervously. Your colony set up mining operations directly on top of this guy's hunting territory. The reports show you used sonic drilling equipment. That equipment operates at frequencies that would have been excruciatingly painful to his species' hearing range. He was probably in agony. Disoriented. Couldn't sleep, couldn't hunt, couldn't escape the noise. We didn't. Riktesh's crystalline form flickered. You didn't know. I get it. But from his perspective, these strange creatures invaded his home and started torturing him with sound. Fight or flight response kicked in. He fought. It's not an excuse, but it is an explanation. Marcus scratched behind the Vordanian's ear ridges. Predators aren't evil. They're just predators. They do what evolution programmed them to do. If we put them in impossible situations, bad things happen. One of the other Vordaxians spoke up. You're saying it's our fault our people died? No. I'm saying it's a tragedy that could have been prevented with better information. If your survey team had included xenobiological assessments, if someone had checked the local fauna, if the equipment had been modified. A lot of IFS. Marcus's expression softened. Look, I know I can't bring your people back. Nothing can. But I can make sure this doesn't happen again. That's why I'm here. To teach others how to coexist with creatures like Big Whiskers. You named it Big Whiskers, Riktesh said flatly. He needed a name. You can't just call someone the Vordanian. That's like calling me the human. I'm Marcus. His Big Whiskers. We've got identities. Marcus paused. What would you like to see happen to him? The question hung in the air. Riktesh was quiet for a long moment. I want. The ambassador's form dimmed. I want to understand why this happened. Why my sister's hatchlings never came home. If what you're saying is true, if this was preventable. His voice cracked. Then I need to know. So it never happens again. Marcus nodded slowly. I can help with that. But it means spending time with him. Learning his behavior patterns. Seeing him as more than just a monster. You up for that? I nearly choked on my own respiratory fluid. Mr. Webb, you can't seriously be suggesting why not? The ambassador wants answers. Big Whiskers here can provide them, in his own way. Plus, it might help with closure. Healing. All that important emotional processing stuff. Veltrax pulled me aside. Is he always like this? Every single day. I'd started keeping a log of Marcus incidents. It was up to 47 pages. To everyone's shock, Riktesh agreed. Over the next week, he visited daily. At first, he stayed at the barrier, watching Marcus interact with the predator. Marcus explained everything. Body language, stress signals, play behavior versus aggressive behavior, proper approach techniques. See how his ears are forward. That means he's relaxed, curious. If they went back flat against his skull, that's when you worry. That's aggression signaling. And the tail movement. Slow swishing. His content. Fast thrashing. Agitated. It's like a mood ring, but furrier and with more murder potential. Day 9, Riktesh asked if he could enter the habitat. Veltrax nearly had a systems failure. I actually did have a small systems failure. Medical had to recalibrate my sensory stalks, but Marcus said yes. With precautions. He spent 3 hours coaching Riktesh on proper approach behavior. Move slowly, don't make direct eye contact initially, let the predator come to you, project calm energy. I watched through 16 different camera angles simultaneously. All my safety override controls active and ready. Trellix had his 16 eyes glued to the monitors. Half the station's security team was on standby. Riktesh entered the habitat. The Vordanian's head came up immediately, nostrils flaring. Marcus stood beside the ambassador, calm as ever. Easy, Big Whiskers. This is Riktesh. He's a friend. Friends are good, remember? The predator rose. Took 3 steps toward them. Riktesh froze, his crystalline body rigid with fear. The Vordanian sniffed the air, processing this new scent, categorizing this strange being. then it did something that would later be analyzed by xenobiologists across 14 sectors. It bowed its head. Lowered its massive body. A gesture of non-aggression in its species. Submission, even. Marcus let out a breath. Well, I'll be damned. He knows. He actually knows. Knows what? Riktesh's voice was barely a whisper. That he hurt you. Not you specifically, but your people. Animals are smarter than we give them credit for. They understand consequences, emotions, social debt. His apologizing. In his own way. Riktesh reached out slowly. His crystalline hand touched the Vordanian's head. The predator didn't move. Just sat there, accepting the contact. The ambassador stayed like that for a long time. When he finally spoke, his voice was thick with emotion. I forgive you. I don't know if you understand that, but I forgive you. There wasn't a dry sensory organ in the observation room. Even Trellix was leaking fluid from several eyes, which was really saying something. By week 2, Marcus had implemented a full enrichment program. Puzzle feeders, climbing structures, a whole rotation of toys and activities. The Vordanian went from lethargic and aggressive to active and engaged. Veterinary assessments showed improved health markers across the board, but the real shock came on day 16. I was reviewing security footage when I noticed something odd. The Vordanian's habitat connected to the adjacent enclosure through an emergency access tunnel, currently sealed. The enclosure next door housed a pack of Kaltorian runners. Herbivores. Prey animals. They'd been stressed ever since we'd placed them next to a predator. Marcus had requested the tunnel be opened. Under supervision, obviously. Veltrax had denied the request 17 times. But on day 16, maintenance had definitely accidentally, not at all because Marcus bribed them with something called coffee, left the tunnel unsealed during a system check. The Vordanian noticed immediately. I watched on the monitors as he approached the tunnel entrance, sniffing curiously. The Kaltorian runners on the other side froze in terror. Emergency protocols. I shouted. Seal that tunnel now. But before anyone could react, something impossible happened. The Vordanian sat down. Right at the tunnel entrance. Just sat there. The Kaltorians cautiously approached. The predator didn't move. Didn't show any hunting behavior. One of the runners, a juvenile, came close enough to touch noses with the Vordanian through the tunnel opening. Marcus appeared on the security feed, walking calmly into the Vordanian habitat. Good boy, Big Whiskers. See. Not everything is food. Some things are neighbors. He's teaching it not to hunt, Trellix breathed, all 16 eyes wide. The human is teaching an apex predator not to hunt. Not exactly, Marcus's voice came through the comm system. He'd apparently hacked into our channel. Another violation for the list. I'm teaching him discrimination. Hunt when appropriate, don't hunt when inappropriate. Humans have been doing this with predators for thousands of years. Dogs don't eat the family cat. Cats don't eat the family hamster. Usually. There are exceptions. But the principle works. Over the next few days, controlled interactions between the Vordanian and other species became routine. Always supervised. Always with safety protocols. But they happened. The station's inhabitants went from terrified of Big Whiskers to curious about him. Children started coming to watch feeding time. Marcus turned it into an educational show, explaining predator behavior, ecological balance, the importance of respecting dangerous animals while understanding them. Fear is healthy, he told a group of young Grelkins, who hung on his every word. Fear keeps you safe. But fear plus understanding equals respect. And respect is how we share the universe. Ambassador Riktesh attended every presentation. On day 20, he made an announcement. The Vordaxian government was funding a new xenobiology research center. Focused on preventing human-wildlife conflicts. Named after the colonists who'd died. We can't change the past, Riktesh said at the dedication ceremony. But we can build a better future. One where we understand the creatures we share space with. Where tragedies become lessons instead of just statistics. Marcus stood beside him, looking genuinely moved. Big Whiskers, who'd been allowed to attend via secured transport and heavy guard, lay contentedly at Marcus's feet. The sight should have been terrifying. Instead, it was oddly peaceful. Week 3 arrived. Evaluation day. Administrator Veltrax assembled a panel of experts. Xenobiologists, security specialists, ethical treatment advocates, and several members of the Federation Council. They reviewed footage, examined data, interviewed staff. The Vordanian went through a series of behavioral tests. Response to commands, stress level assessments, social interaction evaluations. He passed everything. Not just passed. Excelled. This is unprecedented, the head xenobiologist, a Trendellan named Rex, announced. In 3 weeks, Mr. Webb has achieved what we thought impossible. Complete behavioral modification of an omega-level predator. No sedation required. No restraints. Just patience, understanding, and proper technique. Veltrax turned to Marcus. Mr. Webb, the panel has reached a decision. We're offering you a permanent position. Head of Predator Relations for the entire station. With a substantial salary increase and your own research budget. Marcus grinned. Can I negotiate for a bigger hab for Big Whiskers? He's gonna need more space for all the enrichment equipment I want to install. Done. And funding for outreach programs. Teaching others what I know. Also done. And can we get some decent coffee in the station commissary? Because what you have now is a crime against beverages. We'll work on that one. I floated there, watching Marcus accept congratulations from the panel, watching Big Whiskers receive gentle pats from people who'd been terrified of him 3 weeks ago, and I had a realization: humans weren't terrifying because they were predators. Plenty of species were predators. Humans were terrifying because they had this absolutely unhinged ability to look at something designed to kill them and think, I bet we could be friends. They'd done it with wolves and turned them into dogs. They'd done it with wild cats and turned them into house pets. And now Marcus had done it with a Vordanian apex predator. What was next? Were they going to domesticate quantum singularities? Teach black holes to play fetch. That evening, I found Marcus in the habitat, sitting against Big Whiskers' side, the massive predator serving as a very deadly backrest. He was making notes on a data pad. Clawthan. Come to say goodbye. Goodbye? You accepted the position. Yeah, but you're transferring, right? Veltrax told me you put in for reassignment. Something about needing a less stressful environment. I sighed, my sensory stalks drooping. Mr. Webb, I've aged 10 cycles in 3 weeks. My stress indicators are off the charts. My medical team suggested a nice quiet posting. Maybe cataloging space moss on a research station. Something calm. Marcus laughed. I get it. I really do. But hey, before you go, I wanted to say thanks. You didn't shut me down. Could have. Probably should have. But you let me try. That means something. You're welcome. Though I still think you're completely insane. Oh, absolutely. You have to be a little crazy to do what I do. He scratched Big Whiskers behind the ear. The predator rumbled contentedly. But here's the thing, Clawthan. Every dangerous creature in the universe is only dangerous because we don't understand it yet. Once we understand, once we respect, once we connect. That's when the magic happens. Magic. Yeah. Magic. The turning monsters into friends kind. The best kind there is. I left Marcus there, planning his next impossible project. Something about rehabilitating a hive mother. I didn't want to know the details. My transfer orders came through the next morning, but sometimes, late at night in my new quiet posting among the space moss, I check the station feeds. I watch Marcus working with creatures that should kill him. Watch them playing, learning, thriving under his care, and I think about what Ambassador Riktesh said. About turning tragedies into lessons. About building a better future. Humans are terrifying, yes. But maybe that's exactly what the universe needs. Someone crazy enough to look at our monsters and see potential friends. Someone brave enough, or stupid enough, the line's pretty blurry, to bridge the gap between species through nothing but patience and understanding. Someone willing to walk into a predator's den and say, that's just a big cat. The universe is a dangerous place. But thanks to humans like Marcus Webb, it's getting a little less dangerous and a lot more interesting. One apex predator at a time, and somewhere on Station Nexus 4, a Vordanian sleeps peacefully, his belly full, his coat groomed, his life enriched. Not a monster anymore. Just Big Whiskers. The galaxy's most unlikely good boy.